In this beeswax training video, we will be covering our newest form of targeting, Targeting V2. This can serve as a starter for anyone who is new to Targeting V2 or a refresher for anyone who just wants to know a little bit more. We have covered some of these targeting profiles before in our line item setup video, but this might be good if you want a little bit of a deeper dive or just need the basics again. Obviously, beeswax is constantly adding new and exciting features, so don't be concerned if anything you see here is not mirrored exactly in your UI. Feel free to reach out to your beeswax team if you have any questions or if anything seems a little bit weird. All right, let's get started. So if you have an existing line item, we are currently in the beeswax test account with a live line item going. You will come to the targeting tab up here and see a summary of all of what you currently have set for your line items targeting. This is really nifty. It gives you a pretty quick overview of what's up, and it also lets you jump directly to something that matters. So say you were coming into your video line item and wanted to play around with the app list. You can just click directly on this feature and it'll take you to that part of the targeting module. Over here on the left, you do see all of the different targeting modules. These are pretty much the groups of targeting profiles that you can choose from when you're going through targeting. This is a video line item, which is why there is a video section. Display line items will not have this tab, so don't be concerned if you don't see it for display line items. You'll see why when we get there. So starting with app and site, this has to do with, like it says, the app and site that you're running on. This might make sense if you have an app or an app list that you either want to include or exclude, or if you wanted to create one. One of the cool things about Targeting V2 is that for any of our list settings, you can upload a list directly in the platform. The way you do that is by hitting this graphic right here, which will populate up the list creation. It will auto-populate the list type to whatever category you selected it in, but if you realize that, hey, actually it's a site list, you can change that here. You would name your list, save and continue, and upload items as usual. On that same note, you can also edit an existing list or say, hey, I can't remember what's in this list, I just want to give myself a refresher. You would just hit the pencil and be able to come see the list items broken out here. You can also from the screen rename the list if you wanted to make it more transparent for you for future. And also you can additionally add or subtract items from this screen. What you'll notice is that all lists will have the ability to be included or excluded. You can either toggle over here or you can hit the buttons here and here. This is true for all different list formats. You'll also, under App Site, have the ability to target by deal ID. For deal IDs, you have the option of either typing them out directly into here with a comma-separated format, or uploading lists. Again, you can upload the list directly from here or from the list page in the UI. Scrolling through, this is also where domains, placements, publisher, and site data lives. Down here, you do see the OR targeting, which will allow you to combine values from two or more fields to or and it. Say like, hey, I want a bid request that is in this, Andrew's awesome domain list, or in this deal ID. One thing you might notice right away is that this app bundle list has a star next to it. Actually, all of the categories have stars. This allows you to favorite certain categories. If you know that you are always going to be targeting based on deal ID, you can save that here, and then when you toggle over down here, it will be able to show you things that you either favorited or edited for an existing line item. So even though you might not be using a certain one, say like if we have favorited app name, it will still show up here even though it's not currently applied to this line item. That just allows you to quickly come in and say like, hey, I usually use this field, and either if there's a reason you're not today, or if you want to use it, then makes it super simple for you. Moving down the list, we do have content. This is based on the content rating, category, language that are exposed within the bid requests. These are not coming from our partners. That would be something under user. We don't necessarily recommend that everyone uses these content categories as they are not always exposed within the bid request, but it's completely up to you and your use case to see what works best for you. This is where you would see categories, age ratings, and then also language. Again, on each module, you'll notice that you do have the option of doing the OR targeting fields. Next module is environment. This has to do with where that ad is going to be running on the page. So things like ad position, is it an ads.txt reseller, is it an app, when unknown environment type, interstitial, what type of interstitial, native layout, rewarded, top frame, which means not an iframe, and then also the API framework. Again, all targeting parameters are optional, and feel free to use whichever ones make sense for your use case. You'll also notice that all of them do have the include or exclude list based on whether or not you want to include this in your targeting or you want to avoid it. Next is exchange. This is again an optional targeting parameter, and we only recommend using it if there are specific exchanges you want to run on. You will see that here you'll have a list of all of the inventory sources that you have the option of, and these little graphics show you the different types of inventory that those exchanges are known to provide to beeswax. So if you know that you definitely want to run on web, Beachfront might not be the one for you. But then District M, Conatics, all great little graphics throughout. This is also where you have the ability to choose whether or not you would like to run on a first or second price auction, or of course unknown. Next module is Geo. It is pretty straightforward. You have the options for region, country, metro, which also is known as DMA, city, long lists, which again you can upload right here or choose from your pre-existing. Then also the location type, which is how Beeswax identifies the user's location. You can do a zip code list either by typing in individual zip codes or by uploading a list. And again, here is the OR option. The next module is platform. This has to do with the device that the bid request is coming from. So if you are specifically looking for a user who is on 4G, or a user who is currently using Chrome, Firefox, etc., this is where you can choose bandwidth, browser, browser version, carrier, which would be what cell network the user is using, device make, device model, device screen size, device type, operating system, and operating system version. So depending on what you are looking to target, this gives you the gamut. Our next section is time. This is a new version of our time of week targeting. You can choose one of these shortcuts, which will default to say, hey, I really want to get those night owls, so you target the sleeping time. Or you really don't want to target during sleeping time, you can choose to exclude instead. This is also a drag system, so if you also want to exclude, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesdays through Saturdays, or, oh no, actually I really want to get that lunch crowd, just drag and drop as needed. This is really fun to play with, and you can make it say fun things like hi. Continuing in, user data. This is a great platform. In the Beeswax demo account, we do have all of our partners enabled. If you see someone here that you would like to be working with that you do not currently see in your Beeswax UI, please just reach out to your Beeswax team and we can get that set up for you. This is where you will also see all of your segments, either segments that you have uploaded or that you're doing via retargeting. You can target them here. If you know you are working with one of our partners and hey, I really want to target moms, you can search here, and based on the segments that you have enabled, it will populate. It does sometimes take a few seconds, as you can see. That's just because there are so many segments available to this account that it takes our system a little bit to sort through. While that loads, you can also see that you can include or exclude segments on an individual level, and you can choose that you only want to target users where the Beeswax cookie ID is present. Depending on how you are targeting and what you are looking for, this might make sense for you. You can see that our moms segments have now populated, and you can scroll through to see the different partners, the prices, etc. And then the last thing on users is the ability to target based on IP range. If you have a specific IP range in mind, either for testing or forever, you can add multiple IP ranges here. The last module, which again is only available for video line items, is video. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You can say, hey, I only care about video placements where companions are required. I only want things where autoplay sound is off. Player size, start delay, what type of video placement. These are all options here. And okay, that is pretty much the targeting V2 in a nutshell. You can come back to your overview at any time, see what you want to change, and play around with the way things work. As always, your Beeswax team is here to help you, and please feel free to reach out with any questions. We are constantly adding new fun features to the platform, so this video might be updated in a few weeks or a few months, or if anything looks wrong, please feel free to reach out.